evening. Welcome. It's wonderful to be on Gino's spot.
Relax, sit down. Coming out of PE town. One drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.
Gino's shot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Gino's spot for Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. I hope you all, everybody, had a beautiful Christmas. You got a different present from your mother, from your husband, from your wife. Very, very nice to have such a celebration. And also all in the lockdown. It's a lockdown and not happens so nice. It's terrible. It's terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Minuto Peniso. I am here, of course, to help with this Gino spot tonight, which is got CEDric Vandenschrik. CEDric is half Italian, half Belgian, half everything, half I don't know what. We will ask him to see. He's amazing. He got kite surfing, he got the singing, his music. Everything is so beautiful for him. And you know, love is the Italian thing. Love is the Italian thing. Everybody love it. And this time of year, no man did that outfit. Thank you very much. Yes, Valerie, I'm glad you noticed. It's so nice for you, the ladies, of course, for here tonight. Hello, Kat Anderson James, all the way from London. Lot of people from London here tonight. Valerie, also all the way over there. We love you, Valerie. All the people, the people that come say hello every time. It's beautiful. We love you. We love you. Why you not come back? Why you not come back? Come, we are here ready to accept you with open arms and a kiss. Nice, not COVID kiss. Kiss, maybe we kiss you somewhere else, not on the mouth, on somewhere else. It's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, love is the most important part of the Italian thing. You know, it is true. Italians will love it. Hello, Wendy Tompkins. Love is the most important. The love of the mama and the papa, the love of the children, the love of the cousins, the love of the mafia. It's like the concentric rings of a onion. They come together, come apart. They're lovely. And my mother and my father love each other very, very much. Very, very much, of course. My family. And my father loves my mother particularly because she cooks so nice. She cooks so good. She make antipasta, she make a pasta, she make the ravioli, she make a beautiful gnocchi. Everything so beautiful. And my father, even on his dying day, he was smelling my mama's cooking coming from downstairs. And the cookies, they were on the table, they downstairs, they come upstairs. The smell of the cookies come past his nose. He get up out of his deathbed. He crawl across the floor. Across the floor he crawl. Hello, Patud. Lovely to see you too. Patu, I tell you, but my father, he crawled down the stairs to the kitchen where there is the table full of the cookies. He crawled with his fingernails. And with his last gasp of dying air, he reached up to the cookies. He reached up. My mama said, stop that. This is for the funeral. Yes, indeed. Let's love to everybody on the board tonight. CEDric is very well loved here. He's also Italian. That's why I'm here. You like my stripes? You look like the stripes tonight. Very nice. Eastern Province e come Italian. Come Italian, come East Province. Hello, Giannice Gusi. Giannice, nice to have you here on the board as well. We're going to sing a song for everybody here tonight. We're going to sing a lovely Italian song. I think I will do it for you. You can sing as well. Oh, it's nice. I will sing. Boy, give me some comment. Tell me where you are from. Daniel Fushi, are you in the Bushmans? Say Merry Christmas over there. Oh, dipinto di felice di stare lassù. Here we go. Ella, let's go. And make a nice day. Energy. Some energy. Some dance. Because shit, we can't do nothing else in this lockdown. Oh, Ella. felice di stare lassù. Valerie Ceconia, I see you are here. And Kat Anderson, James, you are there too. Pat Woody, CEDric Vandenschrik backing onto the valley. E cominciare a volare, non c'è l'infinito. Giannis Gucci, oh, cantare, oh, e blu, dipinto di blu, felice di stare lassù. E là, have you got your drink? Fitch and Lizzie, oh, with some gin too, oh, yes, I, sipping your vino on the deck. My wife is watching my back. Hey, Teddy Blue, Gianni Gucci, say cheers to you too. Boom, boom, ale. Hey, very nice, very nice. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Gino's spot on this Saturday night, the day after Christmas. Isn't it marvelous? I hope you've got a drink in your hand, because we've got a little bit of chat to do with CEDric Vandenschrik on this lovely evening. I know you're probably all so full from the leftovers now that you had yesterday, because you ate yourself to death yesterday, and then today you had to eat all the leftovers, and it was even more than was that. You had to warm it up, and it was very, very nice. And you're all commenting how wonderful it is. Even the day after, the gammon is so nice. Oh, Wendy Tompkins, Marina Pereira, Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everybody. And I hope you've all got a nice little drink. It's not a little sundown. It's this beautiful day in B here. I don't know what it's like in London, Valerie. And who else was Kat was also in London, I think. Kat Anderson, yes. We want to find out what the weather's like over there in Merry Crimbo from Merry Crimbo to from a lockdown Brighton. What is it like in Brighton? I'd love to see that. I know that all of you have had a lovely, lovely day yesterday, and today we're still in the holiday fever. We still are until New Year's, indeed. And so thank you to our sponsors, Fitch and Leeds, of course. Fitch and Leeds have been with us from the very beginning, and Spar have joined us for the last few months. They've been absolutely fantastic sponsors. And then, of course, Amubia is providing our internet, which has been wonderful, absolutely wonderful. All right, so tell me what you're drinking. Tell me what you're drinking. Put it in the comments. Let me see what you got. This is a little gin and a blue tonic. I think they've got these. They've got these all sorts of little things. This is a blue tonic. This one, yeah. It's got like a, I don't know, like a fennel vibe to it. And my wife's put in a bit of blueberries. Lovely little blueberries. All right, so we're going to just from our sponsors. There we go. Pink Lady, and officially, yes, a Pink Lady vetch from Ifat Borgelt. Yeah, what's Borgelt? It sounds very German. We are happy that you are doing this event. Thank you so much. Thank you. And now we're gonna just see what Justin always gives us, our magical mixologist. He always gives us a little bit of a lesson as to how to put these drinks together. They've got a new range out called the Moments and the Classics. Let's have a look at what Justin has to say.
When the sun goes down and you need a little tickle, Fitch and Leeds have got a flavor for the people.
Hey guys, welcome back to Magical Mixologist. The third moment is here. Alright, today we have the Blushing Mimosa, which is an orange, grape and cranberry flavored drink. And once again, here I am, simple, little bit of garnish, got some cherries, got some orange slices, and obviously a nice glass full of ice. So let's pop this boy. Boom, love it. And I mean, this is just, it's actually too easy. This is sinfully easy. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, done. I mean, wow. A couple of cherries and a big orange slice. Cool. That is it. That is so simple, and that is how we make our blushing mimosas.
I'll make that blushing mimosa blush indeed.
You're starting to become a hazard.
I know. I'm just going to put in a little bit of this, just a little bit of spooperello inside over here, just for a bit of a little, you know. So vodka is very nice in there because you can't smell it. So
is that the reason?
And when I come home late at night, then my wife doesn't know that I've been drinking.
I think you have a few other giveaways. If
I don't know. Cheers, bottoms up, everybody. Cheers to you, young man. Bloody marvelous.
Fitch and Leeds have got a mixer that'll fix you on the table. Fitch and Leeds, the bespoke mixer for the discerning individual.
Lovely pink G&T. Indeed. Jose Pereira, hello. Cheers to you, Jose. Is that Alexandra Gold? Lovely to see you. Ex-vocalist, you know, that I used to play with back in the day. Actually, Alexandra, if she remembers, just put it up in the comments. One gig that I played with Alexandra, I actually played with, I forgot my drumsticks at home, and I played with toilet brushes, which I found in the back. Actually, well, one and only gig that I ever played with toilet brushes. Thank you, Alexandra. That was a wonderful memory. All right. I see that Pat Wood's waiting for a case to arrive, but will enjoy whiskey. Oh, lovely, Pat. Well, I'm sure Justin is bringing them out as well. He does them in batches. So we'll be delivering if you're a prize winner indeed. Just send me a little message as well back just to remind me, and I can just give him a nudge as well. Lovely. And I see we've got CEDric Vandenschrik on tonight, and so I'm not going to waste any more time in that. I'm not going to bring him on, but first of all, we're going to do a little bit of a snippet of his life. He's an amazing chap. He does all sorts of stuff, and his kite surfing is big. We're going to start with a little clip about his kite surfing.
If you say to me tomorrow, take my hand, child, come with me to a castle I will take you, where what's to be they say will be. Catch a wind, see a spin, sail away, live today way up high in the sky, where the wind won't blow, it really shouldn't go, it only goes to show that you will be mine. I've taken our time. And if you say to me tomorrow, oh, what fun it all would be. So what's to stop us, pretty baby? But what is and what should never be? Got the wind, see a spin, sail away, live today way up high in the sky, where the wind won't blow, we really shouldn't go, it only goes to show that you will be mine. I've taken our time. So if you wake up with the sunrise and your dreams are as good as new, and happiness is what you need so bad, oh girl, the answer lies in you. Catch the wind, see a spin, sail away, live today way up high in the sky, where the wind won't blow, really shouldn't go, it only goes to show that you will be mine. I've taken our time.
Woo! CEDric! How's it?
That's it.
Lekker! I was waiting for that.
You need to call Donovan for that.
Oh, Wendy Tompkins already. She's saying she loves it when CEDric talks foreign.
Ah,
You
qu'est-ce
know.
que tu veux? Alors il faudra que je parle un peu en français o magari in italiano, non lo so come volete.
Oh, of course, talk so nice in the foreign language.
well,
CEDric. Oh, there we go. He taught. Ed London said he taught you there limited French.
Well, no, well, I taught him French. He taught me other stuff, but I taught him French.
Excellent. Oh my word! Speaking no English, he said. So you taught him French, and he taught you English.
Indeed, and I think I got the better side of the stick because I definitely speak better English than he speaks French now.
English than he speaks French. Yes, indeed. He taught me with computers at that time as well. We were, of course,
okay.
CEDric and I were the same year. 88
Absolutely.
matrics, eh?
That's
Yeah, that was it. That was it. And I mean, that video was just a fantastic intro. Geez, like, it must be a fabulous experience to kiteboard, says Pat Wood. You must give it a go, Pat.
Yeah, it is an amazing experience. I started 20 years ago and I haven't stopped, you know, and I'm still frothing at the mouth every time I go out, and it's just amazing. And it's I've been involved.
So it was
in
late
in kite
90s when you
surfing.
started that.
Yeah, it was pretty much my first power kite was in 1999, and I got on the water in 2000. Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I knew you before, obviously, from doing all sorts of music stuff. But I mean, the kiteboarding, but also you don't just do kiteboarding. I mean, you do you bit of organization.
Yeah,
stuff,
so sure. I've gotten very involved in the whole kiteboarding world. So I ran a contest in South Africa successfully for 6 years. Very
Okay.
much loved contest, and then I also got involved with the development of the equipment. So I actually work with a
Okay.
brand called Air Rush now that's based in Cape Town, and I test equipment for them. They send me stuff, and I give them feedback. And yeah,
Right.
so
So they
I'm one of the
basically
lucky
build it
ones.
to your spec.
Well, not
build
quite,
your
but I'm
spec.
working on that.
Excellent.
Yeah, man, I'm
Because I
working
mean,
on
that's it's like any surfing or any form of sport like that. If you got access to the guys that are actually building this stuff, it's amazing.
It is amazing, and you start understanding how it all actually works behind the scenes, and how a product gets developed, and of course it's quite an extreme sport. So you can't put out second-rate equipment out there because you're going to end up with people risking their lives, literally. So yeah, so I feel
for
quite important when I'm testing this stuff. Even though I'm putting my life at risk, but
Yes.
yeah.
Oh my God! Yes, absolutely. I mean, because it's hectic. I mean, when you start, you start on the beach, or you.
Yeah, so when you're teaching now we kind of give lessons, and there's schools that are set up for that, so that
Okay.
you avoid the process that I went through when we started, which there was no
Breaking
schools,
legs.
and you just had to teach yourself and hope that you came out in one piece on the other side. And so it's the process is you first start on the beach, and then you slowly get in the water. Actually, you try and get in the water as quickly as possible, because that's where you'll get less hurt, because it's all about
Yes,
managing
that's
that power. Obviously, as you saw in the video, it's something that can lift you, and therefore it's more power than a power boat. So yeah, it's a lot of power. You're dealing with a lot of
No, I
power.
mean, it lifts you a hell of a high.
It does, actually,
20
yeah.
meters.
Yeah, you can reach 20 meters. Yeah, it's quite, and 20 meters is a long way. When you're standing on a roof that's 20 meters high, then you realize how high it actually is. And,
Yeah.
and you don't want your little line to break at the top, and then whoop,
Ah, God, no. But even, I mean, that holding, you've basically got to keep that sail in the wind at the right angle, otherwise you're coming
yeah.
down at a Musa speed.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's all about, it's just knowing how to handle that kite.
Yes.
That's what actually
Wood,
it boils down to. And once you know how to handle the kite, then everything else. Obviously, you need board skills, and if you want to start doing tricks, etc. And there's also all kinds of different disciplines within kite surfing. So you can kite surf with straps on your feet. You can kite surf with a surfboard with no straps, and so it goes on and on. And,
Okay,
and
okay.
develops into all kinds of
Okay, so-
different branches of the sport. Yeah.
Yes. I see Christa de Flamingo says hello. He says, how are you?
I'm good, man. Not enough wind at the moment, but it's coming.
Is he also involved in the kiteboarding?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you're out at Cannon Rocks. I mean, that's the perfect place for it.
It is a pretty good place, I must say. It's kind of by coincidence that I ended up here, and this is where I live.
So it wasn't that brought you there.
No, not at all, actually. In my well-traveled life, it was the only point of reference that I had, and then I kind of you know, at some stage in my musical meanderings, I decided that I needed a plot, and then a house, and then I discovered that I'd built a house in paradise of kiteboarding, you know, unbeknown to me. And so it's been a blast since, you know, I must say, and all the people that come through, I love it. You know, it is special because it's still very small. It's beautiful. It's not crowded. And the sea, I mean, the sea is rough, as you know, like the Port Elizabeth Sea. You know, you got to know your stuff here, and there's a lot of rocks and things, but it's still an amazing place. For me, it holds more, obviously, to me because I grew up here and I have many memories here.
Okay, so when you were younger, then did your folks come out there, or?
Yeah, now you're opening the big can of worms. So,
all right.
So I moved to South Africa at the age of 13.
Tell me.
And
from where?
From Belgium at that particular time.
Belgium.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So we came from Belgium.
There's some kisses from Belgium there. Jonathan de Becker.
Salut Jonathan. Génial. J'espère que ton anglais va suivre. Hein?
Well, I don't know what it is, but it sounds very nice.
Don't worry. And so basically, yes, I moved here when I was 13 years old, and I had people in the house across the road who had a holiday house in Cannon Rocks. And we became friends, and with Stephen, he's still one of my dear friends, and he was a kid my age, so we went to school together, and we went to Grey High School, got taught by Ed Lennon, indeed. And
Ed Lennon,
so we became friends. They actually taught me to speak English, to tell you the truth, originally, and so. As a result, we started going to their holiday house in Cannon Rocks, and my folks ended up moving around Port Elizabeth, and then I ended up moving around the world. But the one place I always came back to was this Cannon Rocks. There was something about it that just drew me back here, and
so
this is why I'm here now.
Times, eh?
Yeah, it's kind of it's your holiday place. It's a lot of happy memories, and I thought, well, why not make that my house? You know, exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, Cedric, that's a fantastic story. Because it really does. You need that place in your life, and with someone like you that's travelled. I mean, you said you were born in Somalia.
In Somalia, yeah.
Holy.
In Mogadishu.
Can you believe it? I see Granville Michael saying hello there as well.
Granville is an amazing singer. I think he's in Cape Town
really?
now. We worked many years together on the Barnyard stages, and he's a great friend.
Barnyard.
Lots of laughs together.
Respect, Granville. Barnyard musos, man.
What? I see Gino learned to windsurf in Kent, and you windsurfed.
Yeah, no, I did a bit, you know. It was around 86 or so, I think, that time when I was there as a gleam in the cube. Whatever it's called.
I think it's time we get you on a kiteboard, man.
Yes, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you have to be fit as well. I mean, you can't just.
You know what? The equipment has actually progressed so much that you don't need to be so fit anymore. Obviously, you can do it at different levels. But I tell you, the biggest danger of kiteboarding, besides the fact that it still is an extreme sport, is that it's worse than cocaine. It is so addictive. I've seen people change their lives, including myself, change their lives to be able to kite surf, change their wedding plans, their marriages.
Really?
Lots of things have gone down the tube because it becomes a real addictive thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about the fact that kite surfing is that kind of thing that all old married couples think to themselves, if I hadn't got married, maybe I could have done that.
And then some do.
And
then the wheels come off, you know.
And then the wheels come off. That's the end of the marriage. Oh, my soul.
So, incidentally, I'm unmarried, you know.
Yeah, I see. No, we see that. Oh, my word.
What can I tell you?
No, Cedric. So Mogadishu, and then was your dad? Your dad moved around because he was.
Okay, so this is the story. My dad basically did a 2-year stunt in Mogadishu. Instead of doing his military services, he was a objectus content or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah, objector.
you know.
Conscientious objector.
Conscientious objector. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And so you went 2 years in Mogadishu to work there, and he met this Italian girl, which was my mother,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
in the late 60s it was the thing that at 22 you would get married, so they did, and
Oh, right,
they
of
had
course.
me, and then I was born in Mogadishu, but then Somalia went through all kind of transitions, which has ended up with the mess that it is now, which it's quite a sad
Yeah.
story, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then they moved to Belgium. So at the age of
Okay.
1.5, I moved from Mogadishu to Belgium, and then subsequently grew up in the woods of the Ardennes in Belgium,
Sure.
with cows as neighbors, and I had quite a privileged childhood in that sense,
Yes.
just growing up in that reality, which then was it's kind of flipped on its head when I moved to Port Elizabeth, because suddenly I discovered the ocean, which I didn't know, and my love for the ocean, and of course the waves then, because I got into wave skiing and all kinds of things, and throughout all this thing, the one constant has always been the music.
Yeah, the music and Canon rocks, it seems.
Yeah, Canon rocks, and of course,
Yeah.
at age 13, changed languages, so went from French-speaking arsehole to becoming a South African, like I speak lekker like everybody else now.
Yes, lekker.
When I go to England, everybody says, you're definitely from South Africa, and then when I break into French in Belgium, people say, you're Belgian, obviously, so it's like Italian, and then the Italian came, but that's another story.
Yes. Oh my word, yes. No, I mean that's absolutely brilliant. CEDric, and I love the fact that you've got your spots that ground you. I mean, because I think as for your soul, you've got your home.
Absolutely.
And your home is
Well,
clearly Eastern Cape.
It is. I call it my soul home, because I've lived in many places, from Newcastle upon Tyne in England to Rome for 6 years, and I still spend a lot of time out of there. But my soul kind of lives. The name of my house, Gino, is between the ocean and the sky, and that's exactly where my soul lives. And this is about as close as I can get to it, because that's what it is. It just resonates with me. It may not with everybody. Some people hate the wind. I love the wind. I love the nature. I love everything about this place.
No, well, just before we move away from the kite stuff, we've got another little clip here about your passion there with kiteboarding. Let's have a squiz.
Time is a concept. Measure things that cannot be measured. Space is the distance you keep between the courage you require. Throw yourself once more into the fire. Love is the answer. When you think you'll come undone and you feel the mind is numb, remember to believe in yourself like you believe in the sun. When you long for what you crave, for the love that you once gave, remember to believe in yourself before you give it away. Given the key, elevate, emancipate your future. Hold on to the treasure you found sleeping in the corner of your mind before you took the leap into the fire. Hate is the cancer.
It's great. It's so bloody high.
Yeah, it's and actually the GoPro that I use to
Yes.
to do the stuff with is it always actually gives you the wrong perspective. You think it's way higher than it looks. But anyway.
Yeah, I know. No, for sure, because it gives you that wide angle thing. But that is, I can see by the size of the flipping waves underneath you, that is hectic. When you're actually on there, I'm sure it's hectic. I mean, you're saying
Yeah.
like the equipment helps you, but I'm thinking to myself, if I had to be there, I'd be hanging on just as hard as if the equipment wasn't there.
Yeah, but I must say that I've practiced a lot. Yeah, let's just keep
Yes.
it like that. So-
Yeah, for sure. I see tomorrow is saying, remember when Sid did a concert at the Cotton Club called You Must
Wow.
Remember This. Always
Jeez.
phenomenal vocalist. And you haven't
Wow.
aged at all.
You must remember this. That's a long time ago, man. Jeez.
Oh,
Hola.
Yuna's on board as well. It's Yula.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
awesome,
man.
man.
And Valerie Giacone as well over in England. She's great song. And of course, those are all your songs that you do in there.
Yeah,
those,
well, not the first one, as you would know, Mr.
Yes,
Gino Fabri
Zeppelin,
was
yes.
from a little band
Led
that we
Zeppelin.
both share passion for, which is Led Zeppelin. But
Absolutely.
yes, a lot of the time I do use my own music, and yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I saw Bob Mazala.
see.
Bob Mazala is an amazing
Bob
bass
Mazala,
player
yes.
from Roma.
Ah!
Yeah.
Yes, we're
Yeah,
going
so
to get into that
That's
just now.
let's get into that just now. I'll tell you stories
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
Bob, I'd love to meet you, my man. Drums and bass, they go well together. Philip is saying 10,000 hours of kite surfing.
Yeah, that's probably right.
So-
I've just started working with this brand, Air Rush in Cape Town, and they make me log my hours, and then I realize how many hours I actually spend on
Jeez,
the
I can
equipment.
spend.
That's like, yeah.
No, well, that's that. She's referring to that thing where if you want to get skill sorted out, like if you want to be a pro at whatever you're doing, like playing drums or guitar or you're
Yeah, yeah.
doing whatever, Boilermaker or whatever it is, you need 10,000 hours. That's what the benchmark
Oh,
is,
wow.
they say.
Okay, all right.
get,
Well, I think I've done that
get
on stage and
Yeah.
in the sea.
Over
So
and
it's
over.
like-
Over and over. You've probably done 30 or 40,000. That's good.
yeah.
And
indeed.
Carol Jean, I see Carol Jean was saying take it off in the beginning there, but she's saying, ooh, those Zeppelin shows.
Carol, I wouldn't have expected anything less from you.
Take it off. Oh, there we go. Take it off. I saw that. We saw that, Carol Jean. I believe it's
Unfortunately,
Carol's
those
birthday.
days are over. Those days are over, Gino. No more taking
Yeah,
off
you
anything
reckon?
now. So,
No,
yeah.
not taking off anymore. No, it's
No.
Carol's birthday tomorrow, I believe. So
wow.
happy birthday to you,
Okay.
Carol Jean.
Happy
Yeah, no,
birthday,
we won't
Carol.
say how old she was. She's turning 30. 30 days tomorrow.
What a nice
Oh,
age.
my word. Yeah, no. No, man. I tell you. So I mean, the kiting thing, but it is a passion. But certainly the music, like you said, kind of. You started with the music in school at school already. I mean, have you always
Yeah,
had that
so-
feel? It was.
I was that hyperactive kid when I was growing up. It's like you couldn't keep me still. My mother swears that for the first 5 years of my life, I slept 2 hours a night, and I would be always busy, except if there was a piano. Then you would find CEDric at the piano for hours, and I would just
Wow.
play and play by ear. I always played by ear. And I would start working out songs that I liked and this and that and all this from the age of 5, already 6. I was already playing around with the piano. And I don't have very dexterous hands. I've actually got mechanics hands. So it takes me a long time to learn to do anything that
Yes.
requires finesse, So piano was complicated, yeah. And so was guitar later on. But obviously, my parents picked up on this musical thing, and they sent me to musical academy, which I ended up hating because suddenly, what was a free-flowing thing in my head became notes on a piece of paper, and I really
Yes.
battled with that, And I found actually that years later it kind of expressed itself in my life choices. That thing of just always having freedom, It's probably the central story of my life. Whiskey soda, rock
Whiskey
and roll.
soda, rock and roll. That's the way. Cheers
And,
to you, Eula Williams.
Cheers. Tu fa l'americano, americano.
Papa l'americano.
But yeah, so it, you know, I became. I had a problem with learning music in a normal way, and so actually, when I moved to South Africa, I had the excuse of having to learn a new language and to end up in Standard 6 back then, having to learn English, Xhosa, Afrikaans, Latin, and you know, it was complicated, right? So I managed to tell my parents, hey, I can't do music anymore, that's it, that's me. But I would still carry on playing the piano on my own time and this and that. And it's only years later, after having been, I was, don't tell this to anybody, but I was the adjutant in the cadet corps. And you know why? It's because, it's not because I was a good cadet, it's because I had the loudest voice in the school, okay? So, and then I was also the cheerleader for the first team rugby games, you know. Because why? Because when Cedric opened his mouth, everybody could hear him, you know. So that was like a great thing. And it's only when I got to university that I put the two together, and I thought, well, I've got this musical thing, and I've got this screaming loud voice. Why don't you try and unite the two? You know? And bingo! It's like, you know, and suddenly it's like, so whoa! I could scream over the rocking band because we had no monitors back in those days, you know, and I could survive, and my voice somehow survived. And years later, with the knowledge that I have now of singing, which is, I suppose, quite extensive, I'm one of the lucky few to have survived the amount of battering that I gave my voice in those early days of singing those gigs, of not having the range to sing some of those songs, and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. Most people would have lost their voices. But somehow, because I'd screamed as a cadet, I kept mine. And it's okay.
Well, I was lead drummer in the band, in the cadet
of course
band
you
as
would
well.
have
So I also did my time. You know, we still had cadets at school, 88, 87, 88. We were there, you know. And I think cadets stopped in 1990 or 1993 or somewhere around there. I don't know when, but it wasn't long after that I think they stopped it at school. After I think 94 was the army stopped. I think the conscription.
94,
stopped
because
it.
I still did my military service in Belgium, which just a whole other chapter of my life.
Oh wow! Okay.
I was, believe it or not. Sorry.
Well, I say wonderful gentleman, super talented musician, and amazing entertainer in every way. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
TJ.
Carl. You're such a sweetie.
No, you were saying in Belgium. You say so. You did your.
So I ended up. I had to do my military service in Belgium to keep my passport alive at that time, and I ended up based in Germany. Because they still had camps from NATO, and it was in 1989 when the Berlin Wall came down. So I was there at a key moment, you know. So that was also a whole experience.
Good grief!
Yeah.
So were you backing David Hasselhoff on the wall?
That's it, eh? That was me and Dave, bro. Like this.
Excellent. So that must have been like 1989, 1990.
Yeah, 89.
Straight after school.
Straight after school.
Straight after school. Okay.
Yeah. And then,
And had you formed a band already at Grey?
No, so you know the crazy. Actually, I did. I'll tell you the truth. I did. So the first band that I ever had was a band. I think I was in Standard 8 or something like, or Standard 9. Well, I can't remember.
86.
But I do. Yeah, 86, somewhere around there. And there was a social. What the concerts that they used to do at school, variety concert, but the collegiate one, you know. And so I was so desperate for some attention.
The girls.
The girls. That, but listen to this story. So that I got hold of this guy who was already starting a band at school, which was a guy called Joe van der Linden. And I said, hey man, my sister has a little keyboard and I can kind of play 3 notes on it. So can I join the band, you know? So I did. So my first gig, I never sang. I actually played the keyboards very badly at the back there, you know, just so that I could be on stage. It didn't work. I didn't pick up anybody either. But it's like, that was my first band, and we did 3 songs, and we played to 2 or 3 nights of the variety concert, and that was that. And then I kind of music didn't even enter my mind as a potential thing, or it would have maybe been a far hobby that I would have maybe gotten into much later, but I didn't think of it. And it's only when I got to university that, again, I was the cheerleader at university as well. I was very involved in in the social scene, and I
Yes,
was at
yes.
the University of Port Elizabeth back then, so Nelson Mandela
Yeah,
University, and it was there was a band that played there, and I'd been leading all kinds of things, organizing all kinds of social events and this and that, and then I just thought,
Yeah.
hey, hang on a minute, I'd like to try and sing, and they lost their singer, and it was with a guy called Lorray LaRue, which is he's still around in Port
Yes.
Elizabeth, I believe,
Lorray.
yeah. Lorray and Max Kira Smith and those guys, and we got together, yeah, and we did this band, and and that's how everything catalyzed, because in the space of a couple of months, we were playing gigs, and suddenly I was already directing the band towards playing a whole lot of the music I liked, which was Pink Floyd.
Yes.
And 6
Yes.
months later, we were staging my first show. And I personally didn't come from a background of theatre from my parents. So
Yeah,
I literally always say that the first time I stepped on a theatre stage was the first time I'd been in a theatre. It's like I'd
Yes,
actually never
yes.
gone to see a show like that ever. I just stepped on stage and just kind of took
Yeah.
it all in. And I had a moment there where I thought, this is it. This is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, And
Yeah.
and then Gary, back
Yes.
then, this is
Yeah.
long before Center
Yes.
Stage, picked up on this show that we were doing. We had like 40 people in the show. It was a crazy
The
production.
cast was at the Wall.
Yeah, that was The Wall. That
Yeah.
was Pink Floyd, The
Gee
Wall.
whiz.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Oh,
that's how
yes.
we started. You can actually see the poster behind me. He's still alive.
Gary's,
And,
Gary's give me little notes here. He's writing here at the Carling Carbon Monoxide Poisoning Workshop.
Yeah, indeed, where we all got sick. Yeah,
We all got sick.
and it was
so-
literally that, So we'd done a little production as students at UPE back then at the auditorium there. We'd done a thing,
Okay.
and then suddenly we were in Grahamstown. It was like, whoa! Like suddenly we're doing
Yo,
a real thing,
big time.
And then ended up at the Opera House. And it was after that I had to make a decision. Okay, what am I going to do with this music thing? Because I was supposed
Yes.
to be doing a post-grad in something in political science, which was a whole other chapter of my life. And then I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to give this music thing a go, this performance thing a go. And I got approached by somebody who played at that Carling Workshop venue of Gary's, and that was Stella Connick.
Okay.
And Stella came to
Stella.
me and she said, and Stella came to me and she said, hey, I like your vibe and this and that. I'd like to work with you. And we created a company called White Eye Productions, which produced that famous Jacques Brel show of mine that toured the world.
Fantastic,
and it was-
yes.
yeah.
That was a
yeah,
whirlwind.
it's-
Now, Stella, it's just in parallel to you. I could give you some stories you might find interesting. In 1986, okay, when you were forming that band with Joe, I was given a call by two guys at Grey, Julian Kivett and Dave Chislett.
Yeah.
And they were into like alternative, a monster from the bog. What was that band called? I can't
I don't
remember.
know.
Who sang Monster from the Bog? Come on, Valerie, you know these bands. And No Friends of Harry, and it was that whole alternative thing.
Yeah, they went into
that they were
alternative
into.
punk type thing going on. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it was. I can't remember the name of the Psycho Reptiles.
The
Psycho
Psycho
Reptiles.
Reptiles.
Yeah. And they were into this. And they got me into starting my first band that I'd ever joined. These two, Julian and Dave Chislett. And and then Stella, of course, was with me from Sub-A in Sub-A here in Clarendon Park, right the way through VP and to Matric. And my very first band that I spawned, where she was playing a little terrible keyboard, was Stella. Stella was playing in that band. Psycho Reptiles. See, Valerie got it. I knew she would.
Yeah.
I knew
No, of
Valerie.
course you would. Go, Val.
So, 50 puntjies for you.
Yeah.
And we're so glad
And-
you chose music, says Wendy. Absolutely.
Thanks, Wendy. And Wendy's been an
mean-
absolute supporter. Everything I do, she comes and watches. It's amazing.
She's amazing. She loves it. I think she's watched every Gino spot as well. She's been on. I love
She's
you, Wendy. I
amazing,
love you.
Yeah, she's so cool. Yeah, so anyway, so we
yeah.
did the Brel thing, and that was my big launch.
Yes.
We it's again worth a book, probably, just the whole thing of how we first did the barn back then for 2 weeks in Port Elizabeth, and then somehow I got into Richard Loring mailing list, and Richard saw. It was the days before digital media, so I think he got a cassette, and he heard this, and he thought, And we kind of found out afterwards that he basically thought we would be a good option as background music for like a club type thing that they wanted to do underneath the restaurant. Then we arrived and we set up. It's a bit of a story, but anyway, we set up and there was nobody that was coming to the club downstairs. So we were in this like supper theater club downstairs from the big sound stage that was this big venue in Johannesburg.
Okay.
And nobody was booked, and so he felt sorry for us. So what he did is at the end of the show, which was I can't remember Chandler, what was that? Diane Chandler, I think was her name. They were doing a thing called We Will Remember This, which was a whole big production thing. And they asked all the people that had been watching the show and the cast to come downstairs and watch these poor guys from Port Elizabeth who've just driven up and they've got nobody to do their first night.
Nobody there.
So there's nobody there, and so the only people who ended up coming was actually the cast. So and it was quite a big cast. So we had about 30 people, which was the cast of the show upstairs. Yes. And we gobsmacked them. They were like, because the Braille show was very different because I sang in French, and of course being French speaking, that was unusual even for Joburg. They think they've seen it all and done it all, but this was like something really different. And we walked into the theater the next day, and they were busy repainting the whole place. I was like, what's going on? And it was literally, would you like to be booked for the next 6 months? We've invited Barry Wrong. He's coming tomorrow night, and we're going to get reviewed by everybody. It's like, whoa, okay, what happened to the background music story? And that was the first, the beginning of it all.
Oh, my word.
And then toured the world with that and played at some amazing places. And that lasted about probably a total of 5 years.
Sure, yeah. I remember Jacques Brel, you touring all over the place. I mean, you went, and I mean, I know you were over in Mauritius. I think you were. You go
Mauritius, Reunion Island. Then we did Ireland, Italy. We really did it everywhere. It's like it's an amazing experience, And
that traveling, it's quite hectic. But I mean, if you're doing to different audiences, is it a different feel?
Absolutely, yeah. Because I think of Mauritius, I was doing it to a full French-speaking audience. So. So it was very different, Suddenly they were judging me on many more levels than just the musical or emotional level, but also on the linguistic level. And
my word!
So it was quite tense, It was quite intense, that particular concert.
Sure.
Also because the person who had sung Jacques Brel before us in Mauritius was actually Jacques Brel himself. So that was the last time they'd heard anybody sing Jacques Brel. So you can imagine how they came to the gig. It was very tense. Jacques Brel actually used to always compare his shows to a corrida, and that felt like a corrida. It was.
What
the audience was the bull, the corrida, with the bull.
Okay, the matador.
Matador, yeah. And that's how that concert felt. It was amazing, but an amazing experience because winning over that audience was not easy. If you get Stella, she'll tell you the same thing. We were really kind of people ready to shoot at us, and okay, so now how are we going to turn them around? And it took 4 songs for them to warm up, and ended up with standing ovation. So it was a great moment.
And Stella, of course, that deep, beautiful, rich voice of hers. Did she sing a couple of songs?
She sang some songs, but she also had the piano playing in that show was so amazing. It was really
just such a talented lady. I actually tried to get her. I tried to get her for you, but I couldn't. She's in Ireland somewhere, I think. She does. She's not a social media. But if anybody knows her, tell her we love her. We love Stella. I miss her.
We do. We still speak, and we're very both of us we're very grateful that we experienced that whole experience of doing a show like Jacques Brel Rough Diamond, because it was an intense show. It was it was really, it had a lot of meat behind it, and I think today would be very difficult to replicate a show like that, because I just think the audiences have changed, the expectations of audiences have changed, and it would be difficult to do something like that today. So I'm very, very grateful that I was able to do something like that with Stella.
Well, I think I would imagine that you would have learned from it as well in terms of running a show pretty much solo. I mean, Stella's on keys, but she's sitting down there behind you, so you had to be that guy.
Yeah, and it's 100%.
As well.
It's 100% up front all the time. You don't have a guitar solo to hide behind. It's very intense. It's 2 hours of intense. It's like a workout, man. It's like it's really intense. And it definitely taught me that the trade of being on stage and capturing people's audience, because it's only your voice and a piano.
Yes.
You know, it's nothing more
Yeah.
than that. There was no recording or nothing. It was just us,
Yeah.
the two of us, you know, and the
fancy
storytelling
pants.
and the acting and etc. etc. So yeah, definitely a massive step in my career, you know, which brought me to
Yeah.
many other things. But without
Yes.
that, I wouldn't have been able to get to them. Yeah.
And then, I mean, talking about different languages. I mean, traveling to Italy and back, you had this this whole two homes basically. You've been flitting across
Yeah.
for the last couple of years.
Yeah, so the Italian connection comes from my mom. Obviously, she's Italian, but I also had a
Okay.
dear aunt that lived in Rome, and so I ended up there actually with another Port Elizabeth guy, which was David Elf, if you remember him.
Ah, Dave Elf, absolutely, yes.
So
Amazing guitar player and vocalist.
yeah. So after we'd done the Jacques Brel thing, I was desperately wanting to get my own music out there. So Dave and I packed up our things literally and moved to Europe,
Yeah.
just with a pure original repertoire. Okay, and and we toured. We ended up living in England for a year,
Yeah.
and we toured around there. And then at some stage we ended up in Italy because my aunt had a pub, so it just kind of fitted in for us to
Perfect.
go and play in Italy. And then there was a girl involved, and yeah, so then I ended up. It's like, you know. And so I ended up living in Italy and played a lot of gigs there, and I ended up playing with Bob Masala, who you saw just now saying hi.
Bob.
And so the two of us, well, it wasn't just the two of us, but there were quite a few of us. So I had my own band, and then I started doing other projects. And one of the projects was touring with a famous Italian singer called Donatella Rettore. And I got to see the whole of southern Italy, going from piazza to piazza in the summer and playing pretty big open air venues. And yeah, it was an amazing experience. So yeah, and that, and then I got to work with then I got to work with puppeteers, and I did children's theatre in Italy. And my connection with Italy has somehow stayed. Obviously, I met a lot of very talented musicians there as well. So my own band recorded
There
quite
was
a few.
those string ones, eh?
There's a string
What do you
puppets.
call them? I've seen the. I mean, I think the group came out here a little while ago to the Italian consulate.
Okay.
And they were, they were no, they were, not mannequin,
The marionettes.
What do you call them? Marionettes.
Marionettes,
Yeah. Marionettes. Absolutely phenomenal marionettes.
Yeah.
These guys are so good.
It's an amazing skill, you know. So I'm very grateful. Actually, we did a production. I redid a production with them, what was about four years ago. I did Pinocchio, you know, and we did it. With the original. If you go on my website, you'll find pictures of it, which is actually the original Pinocchio. You know, the Italian original Pinocchio,
wow.
which is not the one we know. And amazing experience, you know, because I wrote the show with them and put it together, and because I was a storyteller and making the music on stage, I was using a loop pedal, which I'd already experimented with years before, and I was making everything live. You know, it's just amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Viv is saying open air concerts in Italy are amazing. She's loved them.
Yeah.
Balmy nights.
Yeah, no, they are very awesome. Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, and I think Italy's got that vibe, that piazza kind of thing that get together as a family and food, and that's the vibe. Fernando, say hello.
Fernando used to tell me I can't play the freaking cowbell in time.
No, of course, Fernando bringing that in. That's actually where we pretty much met. We might have met at Varsity as well, because we were there at the same time. And I remember you from the Wall, doing the Wall, because I knew Max and I knew the guys because I was working at the music shop, and I think you would have come in there as well with Joe a number of times. But the first time we really got to know each other was playing with Epi and the boys. And,
exactly, yes. That was a whole chapter of my life, of course, is going down to Mama Rosa and jamming with them and discovering that. And that's where Stella and I also started working together, because she was and that's a whole... You know, it's that time in Port Elizabeth was quite a hive of stuff. You know, there was Dave Goldblum and Gavin
course.
Weeks and all those guys, you know, and they influenced me so much, because it's like, if you think
Long
about
Hair
what they
Freaky
were
People.
doing then, the Long Hair Freaky People, all that stuff, man. It's like, and there was the band with Gerard. what was
Oh
it?
yeah, the Genuines.
The Genuines and all, all that was influencing what I became
Curious
afterwards.
Dancers.
Curious
of course,
Dancers, that's
Tananas
it.
was going
Tananas,
at that time as well.
Steve, and so it's a
Incredible musos they were playing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
And I mean,
And,
even the music scene was still there were a lot of bands playing around. I mean, you're talking about the band with Lorraine. I can't remember the name. The Skin Trade.
the band I played with.
Yeah.
That was called All Tied Up. That's,
All Tied Up. Okay.
You're going back many years now, Gino.
I am. And of course, I was with Eminent Child around the mid '90s.
That's
as well.
right. Yeah. Yeah, you guys
we
were doing
were-
your thing,
Yeah. And then but I mean I know that we were doing with Epi and the boys we did that run together which was really fab, and we did Unplugged. I did with Stella as well. I was doing Unplugged
With,
with Andrew Buckland.
Andrew Buckland,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, amazing.
So there was that time where
artist,
where lots of shows happening, lots of stuff going
Yeah.
on, you know.
yeah, absolutely.
and like I
Every
said,
week
no
there was a
social
different
media.
show. No social
Yeah.
media. That's right. Yeah.
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 So Gary
Yeah.
was sending faxes out at 12 o'clock at night to the fax machines. And
That's
if
right, yeah.
Lo and behold, if your number didn't have a fax machine attached to it, because 12 o'clock at night, that automated fax machine of Gary's was going to phone it 5 times before it lit up.
Yeah, and then of course there was Anton Collitz. Anton. I remember Anton actually also influencing me because of his intensity on stage. It was quite a thing, and yeah, all those
Yes.
things played a role into where I ended up later on.
Yeah, I actually did many gigs with Anton as well. We did Slugs and Strawberries and that together, and Full Length
That's
Mirror.
right,
We
yeah.
did many shows too. Oh. And it was just a very much a growth phase for musicians, and because I think guys that are coming up see those bands playing, they're keen to get their bands together, get it in,
That's
go
it,
to the
yeah.
folk club.
Absolutely. I mean, Mark Brandt as well was around then, and that I've actually, that I recently found a cassette which had some scribbled writing on, and I put it into an old tape deck that I still have that still works here, and it's a recording of a gig with myself, Mark Brandt, and Stella Connick doing original songs at It's Country.
Yo,
But it's the whole gig, which is hilarious because you're hearing the commentary between the songs, and it's like,
Yes.
it's like,
oh, that's fantastic.
and you think back that we actually had a place like that to go and play at, where we could play
I know.
original music,
A late night spot where you just pulled in and the drums and the guitars and everything were there. You could pick
I
up Jacques' old banged up acoustic guitar, and there was a fan overhead. Do you remember at His Country? There was a fan above the stage.
I saw somebody hit it with their head.
Yeah, every time. What they'd do is they'd take Jacques' guitar, and he'd always say to them, "Watch the fan." And if they didn't know what he was talking about, they'd just take the guitar and put it over their heads. Trying to put it over there, trying to put the guitar over themselves, and they stick their headstock into the fan every time. Oh no, Maiden Voyage.
man,
There's
yeah.
another band. Thorsten is remembering
Yeah.
there. Radio Chaos. Oh, that's the one.
Radio Chaos, that's another whole chapter as well. So that was after the wall. I had to do something else, in Port Elizabeth. So that's still my Port Elizabeth days, which actually is not much of my whole career, but it is.
Yes.
And the follow up to the wall, I had to do something, but I didn't want to do something with 40 people anymore because that almost killed me. So
Yeah.
I thought I would do something with 3 people, which was myself, Stella, and Mark Brandt. And we created this amazing show, which in retrospect, it's one of the shows I'm proudest of because it was so out there. The way we'd put it together, the theatrics behind it. I was acting as this kid in a wheelchair on stage and singing these songs, and it was quite out there. It was I'm still proud of that show.
I mean,
yeah.
look, Mark Brandt himself is still at NMU doing stuff there, but he's an out of the box thinker. I
Yeah.
remember seeing Mark for the first time with his stuff, and it was insane. I mean, the solos, the chord structures, the things were like totally something that I hadn't really experienced before, which is great to watch. And I talk about out of the box. That was another project of yours, and we've got somebody here as well that we're going to pull on quickly to talk about that too, and that's Lloyd. Lloyd, very nice to have you here, Lloyd.
Hey, good to be here as well.
Yes, man. Lloyd's the drummer. Other way, CEDric. Other way, it's mirrored. So you have to go to there we go.
You got me now.
There we go. Now you can see him. Do you want to drink? By the way, I've got a drink here for you if you want
Ah,
to take
shot, man. Thank you. Wait,
This side, Lloyd,
Yeah.
you've done plenty of work with CEDric, and that out the box stuff was quite freaky. I mean, as a drummer, it must have been quite fun.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It was pretty good as well because Joe and I get on well together, and we just made CEDric look good. You know that we did the best we could and had a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah, so just to bring people into speed with out of the box, well, maybe I should backtrack a little bit because, Lloyd and I met at a gig that Joe had organized where he just pulled me in at the last minute, as it often happens. And there was this guy, Lloyd, that I didn't know. Actually, I'd heard about him, but I didn't know him. And it turns out that I had to do a little acoustic set before the band kicked in, and I started playing this Led Zeppelin song, and Lloyd came and started drumming behind me, just like summer, And I thought, hey, that's quite cool. And I could, he knew all the parts properly, So we got chatting afterwards, and Joe and I we'd be talking about doing the Zeppelin thing for a while, and Lloyd was keen, and then we just thought, I wonder if Donovan would do it. And that's how our relationship started, and we ended up doing the Led Zeppelin show, then we did a whole lot of other stuff there as well. And then we got this idea for this out of the box, which the concept behind it was literally to have a box of things and to see if you could make music out of these things. And that also translated to the songs themselves, of taking the songs and just saying, right, we're going to take the song and do it at a different tempo, with a different style, with just everything, just change everything, but with no. There's maybe we would correct me if I'm wrong, Lloyd, but we might have had some kind of structure for some stuff, but most of the stuff was like off the cuff, totally like relying on our musicianship basically to see what we could do with it.
Absolutely, it was totally freeform. It's a very exhilarating thing for me, to have it impromptu, to improvise all the time. Is sometimes better because the song can go anyway. You can't actually do it wrong unless you completely fall apart, but you can't actually do it wrong because there's always another left or another right that you can take or just drop out and let the other guys pull you out. If you dug a hole for yourself.
And
also
I think listening to the other players, just leaving space for them,
Absolutely.
I think the key was the fact that Lloyd is as good a drummer as he is, and Joe is as good of an instrumentalist as he is, being able to play different instruments, and that I'm very aware on stage. I listen and I can pick up on things and just mold them into something else, and then I've got this bank of words in my head that I just pull from left, right, and center, from one language to the other to that. And I think that the combination of the three of us was key to the success of that.
Well, I think so. Also, for me, the fun of that particular gig was that it was a dialogue and not a monologue. Oftentimes you get a great showman or a showwoman or something, and they've got a clear lead sheet that they're going to do, and everyone's got to try and support them. But out of the box, what we did was it could go anywhere, and it was a dialogue even with the audience, because sometimes the audience could really hear what we were trying to do, and sometimes they were clueless, and then there's something in the song would come in, and their faces would light up, and they'd respond in how they wanted to. And it was a dialogue. It wasn't a monologue where someone stands in front of the baton and says, "Listen, you blighter, you play now," because it's written. And so we were free. I'd pick up a box, a shaker. Sometimes we hit cardboard. We played with jingle bells and sleigh things, and sometimes I didn't play at all. We once played brushes on Joe's acoustic deck.
Yeah, that was amazing. We would start. I think, if I remember correctly, we had one of them was Joe would play the bass line to Fever, the famous jazz song, and then Lloyd would play drums on it, and I would sing Black Dog of Led Zeppelin over it. That's how crazy we got. Just make it up as you went.
Muso is also a fine muso, and Lloyd respect, because you're a precision drummer, man. Every shot that you hit, it's meant to be there. I've never seen you trip up. And I said, gosh, as Carol Jean say, Lloyd's an intense drummer, hitting every beat and spot to all the Led Zeppelin tribute stuff. And it's not easy. You're right. The Zeppelin stuff has got a certain feel, and Lloyd totally feels it. We've got a little. I think we've got a little clip here. I think we're gonna let Gary put on a little clip here of the Zeppelin stuff. Let's have a look.
Hey, mama, say the way you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. Hey, child, the way you shake that thing, gonna make you burn, gonna make you sting. Hey, babe, when you walk that way, watch honey drip, can't keep away. Get my thrill. Lines that shine, burning red, dreams of you all through my head. Been dazed and confused for so long, it's not true. Wanted a woman, never bargained for you. Lots of people talking, few of them know. The soul of a woman was created below. Every day I work so hard, bringing all my heart and pain. Try to love you, baby, but you pushed me away. Don't know where you're going, wanna know just where you've been. Sweet little baby, I want you again.
Sam.
Time!
Oh,
Noisy
you
bunch.
out there. I love it. Zep is great. I've got to say. I mean, it's also that light and shade is always there.
Yeah, and you know, I got to tell you about that gig, and Lloyd will attest to that. You know, I think that gig that we filmed was after 3 rehearsals, and we had to go through the whole of the Led Zeppelin repertoire. But it was one of those things that, you know, we kind of just got together and we just played the songs, and they were just there. You didn't have to do them twice; they were just there. It's like bam, you know. And it was. It's not happened often with bands that it's been like that, where things have just clicked. You know, and that was one of the shows where it definitely did. And I mean, understand that that's the first show, so it was still rough around the edges. We played many shows after that, and the last shows that we played, which were actually at the Music Kitchen, I remember having moments on stage where I thought, "Wow, okay, I don't know where we're at now, but it's so the band is so tight and so rocking." That it was just like, yeah, you just get that thing like you don't know how much better this can get, you know, that type of thing.
no, it's great. It just when you, and it's all music that you love. I mean, Lloyd, was Bonham not one of your influences? I'm sure.
Oh, definitely, yeah. He was one of the guys. He changed my life in 1973.
73. We were 3, Cedric. We were 3.
I started playing in '71, and I
Wow.
remember I had a guy on the road. He used to come every now and again and just listen to the drumming, and he was a drummer tour. And he just one day said to me, we didn't have cassettes in those days. He said, "Listen, take this LP, a long playing record. People probably listening to the show don't know what I'm talking about." And I put it on, and it was Houses of the Holy, and it was that literally changed my life. I'm not being melodramatic now. I think I walked around for a week with my jaw open. I just could not believe what I was hearing. It turned me around.
I know.
It turned me around.
It was his snare sound or his bass drum sound. It's just so huge.
It was just, and also the way he just sat. He is such a pocket player, and he always had whatever it needed in terms of fills or trills or speed or dynamics. It was just there. It was I think he could get drunk and drugged and drop him off a bus and he'd still play the same.
He'd still get it. Oh, what I love about Bonham is that he. I mean, we're getting onto the drummer things a bit here. Sorry, CEDric, but I love the way he. I mean, obviously his toms sounded huge, but he often does fills where it's just snare and bass drum, and it's simplifying those beats to make them huge. You know.
Yeah, but actually he had that very simple sound. But if you really analyze him, he was a phenomenal technician. He used to play all those ghost notes, and that's where I picked it up. You know, I asked, why do I play what I'm hearing that doesn't sound like what he's playing when I play it?
It's breathing, that's why.
Yes, and when I started learning to read, I'd get these little things, postscripts, and I suddenly realized these little ghost notes all over the place. It was university, when I was 13 or 14 years old.
No. I was there. I think I was about 9 when I heard. And I don't know if you did the same thing. I got Zeppelin 2 from my uncle. I got the album Zeppelin 2, and that opening line of Whole Lotta Love with that. I don't know. They recorded it in a cupboard or something, a Vox amp in a cupboard, and with a Telecaster, I think. And it was just phenomenal. The sound, it freaked me out. I was there. I was a fan. So Zeppelin definitely.
Yeah, they were very creative, and that's what the out the box thing is. It's a chance in a very tight music world sometimes to just be free, and that's I think is when the magic really happens. I think that's my personal feeling.
Yeah, and Joe obviously is slotted into that out the box thing plenty as well.
Yeah, and the big challenge with the out of the box thing was to keep the audience with us as well, because that's often we can start playing just for musicians. But I think that, again, the combination of Joe, myself, and Lloyd worked because I know how to connect with the audience in general. I'm not saying always, but in general I do. And I kept that alive somehow, even in the madness that we were creating. I mean, we played Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun with a pizza box and a kite pump, and me on guitar playing a jazz version of it, that's how crazy it got, but it still managed because the people were laughing at Joe playing the pump and Lloyd playing the pizza box, but in the meantime they were listening to a jazz version of our Black Hole Sun,
Black Hole Sun. I know. See, Barbara saying she's loving the thing. Thanks, Barbara. And I see Nikki Folker as well, also a fan. Nikki's always been at those rock gigs. So you always do an amazing Zepp tribute. Best seeing at Butterfield Road, and the first time reignited my love of Zeppelin. You're right, I remember that time. And definitely. And Donovan on guitar, of course, as well. Donovan, incredible.
Yeah. Amazing. It's been,
I
hope we get to do Out of the Box again at some stage.
Hey, why not?
We got to do it. All these shows that we really enjoyed, we've got to redo them. I see Eula saying 2021 is the year of a Prince show. Said, what do you say? An entire George Michael show.
Only Eula would say that.
Okay, no, it's fine. We'll do it. We'll set it up for a thing. We'll do it in a public toilet. Okay, I'm not going to go down there. Eula, don't get me into trouble.
For the first time, I want to say thank you to COVID. You can't do George Michael. You can't be serious, eh?
Thank you for COVID. We can't do it because of COVID.
Yeah.
No.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Okay. Love from Butterfield Road. I see who's that? Carol. Carol from
Carol, yeah. She used to feed us, man. We would have the best meals ever there. Like, so it was actually hilarious because we would rehearse there. And you remember, Lloyd, there were these parrots that would scream while we were rehearsing, and then so we had like, you know, it's been a long time. It's like,
And I wonder if the parrot spelt that with an F in the front.
Indeed.
So there we go. LaRue Messenger says, "Cedric saw your Owens. They saw your Owens at the Music Kitchen. Wow, awesome! Every time I see the Cannon Rocks, I would shout, 'Hey, Robert!' Who's right? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Robert, of course.
Robert Plant.
Robert Plant.
Yeah,
Yes.
I got to tell you a story of that Led Zeppelin show. You know, because vocally, I'm probably born a baritone, and then I just learned to sing tenor because there were more gigs for tenors. So I started singing the higher register stuff. You know, when I think back of the early days, I really couldn't sing the Queen stuff. I couldn't sing the Zeppelin stuff. I never thought I would actually be able to sing. And and it's only, you know, if I tried to do the Led Zeppelin show 20 years ago, I would have lost my voice probably because it was just not within my reach, you know. And still now, I mean, it's still something I really struggle to sing because I have to push myself to the boundaries of my voice. And when we stepped onto that stage, I really didn't know whether I could actually crack that whole gig, you know. It's just like, okay. And then, I made it.
You got the moves, Sid. You got the moves. You can do it without the voice.
No, I've been using my moves to hide my voice for many years now.
I love it. I do the same. Oh man, but Lloyd, thank you, man. You know, and I don't know if you guys have, how many projects you've done together, but it must be quite a few.
We did the Doors, as well, and then what else did I get you to play? Some crazy other stuff.
We did quite a few. I can't remember the details, but we did many. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you played. We played at that famous CD launch where Sean Phillips came and joined us on stage. That was also quite an experience. Yeah, so Sean is a whole other chapter as well. So Sean's an old friend of mine, and we often played each other's songs to each other at his studio when he was living in Seaview.
Yeah.
I did a massive project with him in 2003 where we sang with the Philharmonic Orchestra in Durban, and we produced a whole album actually. There was one of his songs that he co-wrote, and I wrote most of
he's
the
phenomenal.
material. Yeah, he's a phenomenal guy. But the amazing thing about him with that gig is that I said to him, "Hey, I'm doing a CD launch. Why don't you come and join us on a couple of songs?" You know. And then he just rocked up at the rehearsal and he'd learnt all the songs, you know. He'd just gone through all the songs. He was going to play on everything. It's like, okay. It's like, we'll just have Sean Phillips there in the corner playing this amazing guitar, like, you know, it's like playing my songs.
What a
like, you know.
What a legend! What a legend! Well, you got to be a good guy to do that. Gee whiz.
No,
I see.
absolutely,
Tell us about the Doors show. You did all those years back. The Doors show, and that was after the war. Was that after or before?
Yeah, it was after the wall, huh?
Yeah, I remember
So
that was a good show. That.
Yeah, that was muscled somewhere between the Jacques Brel and me leaving for Europe, and it was another crazy show. But for many reasons, you know, the Doors' music had become relevant because of the movie, and I inhabited the persona. You know, Jim was very much part of my persona at that time. I had the hair, which I don't have anymore.
Yes,
and I had
the big hair.
the big hair and the leathers and everything, and really connected with his poetry, etc. And it turned into quite an experience, that whole show. It was the many weird things happened in that show. From we could get onto a whole philosophical discussion about what happened.
Well,
in that show.
I think that you're also suited to that kind of that Morrison package, you know, that David Bowie, Morrison, Freddie, you know, those sort of things, that front man thing. And I think sure Lloyd will agree with me that's where your sweet spot lies, you know.
Well,
you're definitely, I was definitely into. He does. That's it.
Yeah. And you know, I also connect with meaty material. That's why the Jacques Brel. That's why the Pink Floyd. That's why the Doors. Because if you actually go and read the lyrics, there's something meaningful behind it. You know, it's not I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. You know, it's like it's real stuff. And then, you know, at first, that's the first thing that drew me into the music thing. That's why I started with a show like Pink Floyd. I mean, who would think of doing The Wall as a show?
I know.
But it was that thing of that intensity in the words, in the message behind it. And then that translated into the musical thing. That's why Led Zeppelin became a thing, because musically there was so much meat. And that's why I started listening to jazz and to all kinds of other music. Frank Zappa, all that stuff started appealing to me because there was that meat behind it. You know, it's like it's consistent.
Not just that frivolous thing on the top. It's
exactly.
It's actually got all sorts of layers that you've got to peel away. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Are you going to do another Door show? Nikki wants to know.
I don't know. I'm almost double his age. You know, when he died, so it's like.
Oh my word! Oh man, but Lloyd, thank you, man. I know we won't keep you, but thanks for coming on as well. He's always a stalwart with Set Sos, and an incredible drummer, and much respect from me.
Thank you.
Lloyd, I look forward to the gig.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
I
man.
look forward to seeing you. I'll be there, front row.
Excellent.
Thanks, Lloyd. Oh, legend that is Lloyd. We try to get Joe. I think Joe's internet is on the fritz again. I think we wanted to get Joe in as well. I've got one more little thing. The Queen show, the Queen stuff. We haven't really touched too much on the Queen. Let's have a quick look.
All right, can you just sing it out for me? It's a nice song, guys.
Listen here. I've got party tunes and hopes. I've got stiffness in the bones. Ain't no beauty queen and ain't no guarantee. Although I still get my pleasures, I still get my greatest treasures. Big, big woman, you made a bad boy out of me. I want you to take me home tonight, please.
You make the right world go round. I love it. Oh man, that was your Cape Town band. You did a lot of shows down there. I mean, you're also a producer. You obviously produce these shows yourself, a lot of them. So,
so I produced a string of shows for the Grand West Casino for years, 10 years of production. You know, from the Beatles to full dance shows with the great Cleland Fivers, with all kinds of stuff.
Oh, there we go. Beatles.
The Beatles. I did a jazz show which I had immense fun doing with Amanda Tiffin, who I collaborated so much with.
Yes, Amanda.
And then the band that you saw there, Sean Johannes, a great friend of mine on bass, who I've produced. He was my musical director. And then using Kevin Gibson as often as I could, because he's another great drummer.
Insane drummer.
He's just an amazing drummer. So I've been very, very, very lucky with the musicians that I've played with over the years. You know, I've always somehow been blessed with having amazing musicians. And Ulla, Ulla was the last show that I did.
Anyone crazy enough to sing Nessun Dorma at the end of a show is crazy enough to qualify as a tenor. Absolutely. But I tell you, you sang in front of an orchestra as well.
Yeah, so I did also many years in Dubai. So I used to basically be the resident singer for the Philharmonic in Dubai, and that was an amazing experience. So Gino, to tell you the truth, I've probably done everything the wrong way around. So as an original artist, which I can't say that I've got any fame or any success with my original material, but my original
on that album, the one album, eh?
You did.
That one was did very well. That album, it was a fantastic one.
It was. I still listen to
Mid-90s, I think, as well.
Yeah, I still listen to it with a lot of joy. Actually, it brings back a whole lot of good memories of a lot of good people like yourself and Alex Van and Joe at the time already, and all these people that played on that album is really special. It's kind of, I find my music is actually a diary, and I would go back to those songs and they mean something and they fit in, and the people I played with, etc., and and
it was a special time for me, that album. It was great. I mean, it was my first real studio trip. We went down to Cape Town. We spent a couple of days there. I think recording. It was the guy
the London
from
Connection.
London Connection. Yes. What was his name? He used to. He
Andy
was in
Biscup.
a band as well. Andy Biscup. Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Look, Gary's got the Moon song. Let's have a look at the surfing on the moon. This is me on drums, by the way. Yes.
This is Gino. Ready for action? Matt, are you in the picture?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys ready for some serious kiting today?
Well, good day, how are you? What is it that you do? Shake my hand, but don't dig deeper. Don't say I would like to know you. Can you see my point of view? Will you listen to my story? I can cut myself in two if you don't like the full-length picture. I've been surfing on the moon, and I jump right through the clouds. And if the tide comes in too soon, I'll teach you to breathe with your eyes. And if you float like a balloon and your neurons go inside, then I will shower you with noon, simply to test your soft disguise. Show me your naked eyes, rain will fall from pregnant skies.
All right.
It's a really old video. Yeah, no, it was amazing recording that song with you. There was, because you had Elad Neeman, if you remember him, the percussionist. He also played on that album, and it's again, as I said, and Joe, etc. And then fast forward all this, I was saying I did everything the wrong way around, because a couple of years later, I was doing Sandy. Yeah, Sandy's another great supporter. It's always at every gig, man. She's so amazing.
Ego Dysentery, that's the one.
That was the name of the album. And basically, I ended up recording a full album of original material with a full symphonic orchestra. And who gets to do that? Not even some of the top guys don't get to do that, but I've got to do that. I got an album with all my songs with an orchestra. It's like unbelievable.
Incredible.
So I'm very, very grateful.
I mean, that would have cost you millions, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Instead, I got to do it for free, practically.
Oh man! Well, I think he's got a little clip here. Tell us about this clip in the UAE.
Right, the UAE. So yes, so that was to get to the situation that I ended up singing with the UAE Philharmonic, and they would basically book me for all the events whenever the orchestra needed somebody who could sing some poppy stuff or a little bit of light opera. I wouldn't call it opera, but
Yeah.
and obviously, especially Barcelona, because it's a mother of a song. And to sing that Freddie part was just not easy. So they used to book me, and I would go and sing that. It was an amazing,
Well, let's have a look.
experience.
Let's have a look.
A ricordarci che
When the stars go out each night,
l'eterna stella sei nella mia preghiera.
let this be our prayer.
Quanta fede c'è
When shadows fill our day,
lead us to a place,
guide us with your grace.
give us faith so we'll be saved. Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia e di speranza. Ognuno dia amore al suo vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. La forza che ci dai,
With good life be kind,
il desiderio che
come just from above.
ognuno trovi amore
We hope each soul to love.
intorno e dentro a sé.
Let this be our prayer. Let this be our prayer.
Just like every child,
Just like every child,
need to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved. I had this perfect dream.
un sogno m'envolvió.
This dream was me and you.
Tal vez estás aquí.
I want all the world to
Un
see
instinto me guiaba.
a miracle sensation, my God and inspiration. Now my dream is slowly coming true. Well, let the songs begin. Let the music play. Let the voices sing and start the celebration and cry, come alive and shake the foundation from the sky, shake it all over. Barcelona, such a beautiful ride.
Oh, Cedric, man, I gotta hand it to you, Cedric. Whatever the situation is, you just step up to that plate, and it can be from playing on your acoustic in front of a camera at home and on your toilet, or or singing on a stage. But you just up your game to wherever you are, and it's phenomenal, man. That is just phenomenal.
I've always believed in, at some stage in my life, I made the decision of, you know what, you just got to go for it. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
You pick up the pieces afterwards if you have to, but if you don't try it, then you'll just have regrets, and that's one of the things I wish not to live by, is to not have any regrets of not having tried something.
Absolutely, and that's just phenomenal. I see Pat Wood saying she's got goose flesh. I think in Afrikaans they say chicken pox. No, that was just that's just amazing. Absolutely,
Yeah,
and it's been a great interview, man. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this. It's been really meaty. I think it like you say with the songs, you know, you've it's we've kind of got to go. I think I've got a good idea of who CEDric is and how he looks at things. You know,
Cool.
Going forward, your views. What's
Well, obviously
what's happening
now,
at the moment?
yeah, you know, obviously the whole COVID situation has really whacked all of us entertainers, and being a survivor, I've made plans and I'm getting involved in other businesses and whatever I have to do to stay alive. You know, because I'm not a kept man, but it's all right. It makes you discover other aspects of our own personalities. Like you have become a great show host, and you know, you would have never found
the TV guy.
you're the TV guy now, and you would have never found that out if you had not if we had not had this lockdown stories, you know. So yeah, just hanging in there, and hopefully I'm quietly optimistic. That once this is all over, people will finally go back to understanding how important what we do is, you know.
Yes.
Because I think with this digital world that now live in, we've lost some of that energy that you can only get from a concert, you know, and from a performance. And I hope people are going to sit and say, hey, wow, now we really miss this stuff. We need more of that. So hopefully we will. And hopefully, as Ula says, keep the faith. I would so much want to redo a show with Ula, because that's the last thing I did actually just before the lockdown started. We were doing a little show, and I would really, really like that. Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's going to be George Michael.
Because you gotta have faith.
Len Moodek, how's it, man? Len's all the way in East London, feeding the goats and the sheep with Kerry Howes, of course. Kerry.
Look at that. Neil Thompson is another amazing inspiration in my life. He was making me listen at school. He was my teacher. He made me listen to Graceland, and for the first time, the words was like, "Whoa, hang on a minute! There's a whole other thing going on here." So yeah, Neil. We've had on a few occasions. I've been lucky enough to play music with him, and it's always been an absolute privilege. And I hope that I get to do that again. Yeah.
He's an absolute riot.
Absolutely, right. Yeah.
Oh my word! Good luck. Digital is horrible. You're right. You know, the thing with digital is that it can connect people from all over the world, which is great. But at the same time, humans are built for touch, feel, for watching little signs on your face to get your body language. Those are the things that are important with live entertainment. You know.
Absolutely. You know, I was actually telling the story when I used to do the Jacques Brel show with Stella. There was always, because I sang in French in front of an English-speaking audience most of the time, it was quite difficult for them to now take this in, because, you know, you're speaking in a foreign language, so they can't understand the words. And there was always the fourth song, which was a song called Mon Enfance. And I would perform it, and I could actually feel the room expanding and knowing, okay, I've got them now. And from there, I would sing songs that people would be in tears. They don't even know what I'm singing about, but just the energy was so much flowing that suddenly everybody was with me. And it was always that fourth song. That's when the wall broke, and it just all happened. You know,
it's amazing. Some songs also just encourage that sort of thing as well, or the audience just gets into it at that time. And you can feel it, and then all of a sudden, if you know you've got them, then there's nothing better. It's true.
No, it's an amazing feeling.
And you do that often. I've seen you do that many times. After all those high notes, I need a drink. Thanks for the entertainment set. Those high notes, it's the underpants, is it not?
Well, Carol always needs another drink, anyways.
You're just making an excuse. Oh my word! Oh, Cedric, you've been an absolute pleasure to have on, man.
Thanks, man.
And old friend and fellow muso. You know, we're gonna get back out there. We don't have to worry. We're in.
Absolutely.
I see you.
I'm in.
You should have started with the fourth song. She says.
Nice. But Gino, thank you, and thanks Gary as well for doing this whole thing, man, and thanks for having me on. And yeah, strength to all of you, and let's keep this thing going somehow, you know.
Absolutely, and have a good New Year's. I believe you're
Yes.
playing a little small gig with Joe. That's going to be good fun.
Yeah, that's actually tomorrow night. I mean, not tomorrow night. We don't play at night. We're playing on the lawn of the Pig and Whistle in Bathurst, myself and Joe,
Oh,
tomorrow
lovely.
afternoon. So if you're in the
Beautiful.
Port Alfred area, come and have a turn. There should be a good laugh. And Joe and I is amazing. We
Beautiful.
just get together and play music. We don't, it's like it just happens. You know, it's like
Natural
1, 2,
music.
3.
Absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic. I love one of my favorite bass players as well, and guitar players. It was
he's
our
an amazing
Stones
guy.
thing that we did as well. I think you've done Stones with us as well.
Yeah, no, I have. I think actually you were Stones, I was Bowie, and I ended up riding on
Yes.
your back. There's a long story again.
Yes. Dancing in the street. I had to remember all the city names. I could never remember the names.
Yeah. New York City, that was the one. That's
New York
enough.
City. London, Moscow, I don't know, something. Valerie's saying she loves the pig. Oh man, you got to get back and go. Oh
Awesome, man.
But thank you, Cedric. That's been absolutely fantastic. It's been good for my soul, man.
Yeah, and thank you guys, and all the strength, and hopefully see you soon.
Absolutely. All right,
In the
we're gonna
flesh.
head off. We're gonna head off with a competition, and we'll see you then at the George Michael show, young man. Ciao,
Cheers, guys.
Cedric. All right, we got the competition to go. You the last guy, the guys that are still online. If you're here, thank you very much, Pat Wood. It's fantastic. Get ready on your typewriter, people. We want to see. I've got to go to the drum cam. I want the name of the song, the name of the artist, and you will get a Fitch and Leeds hamper sent to you by Fitch and Leeds. Thank you to our sponsors, Fitch and Leeds, and thank you to Spa, and thank you to Amobia. Okay, so we're going to head over to the drum cam, and then we're going to hit the song. I picked an older one. I picked a nice 80s number for you, and let's see if you remember this one. And we got a winner. We have Shady Balloon. I like that song.
The show's over and it's time to say goodbye. Pour yourself a whiskey and go.
Shady Fitch and Leeds. Take it to Spa. And take it to Amobia. Thanks to our guest, CEDric Vandenschrik. You absolute legend, CEDric. All right. Kim Wild, Chickens Love was the answer. Shady for you, and we will get you a feature lead coming. That's me, man. All right. 29th, we're doing a COVID show. We're doing a COVID catch-up on the 29th. And then we'll be into the new year. All right. It's happy times. Other than COVID. It's lockdown happy. I don't know. Oh. Thank you for joining me tonight. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Relax, sit down. Coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver. Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.
Gino's shot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Get to Gino's spot.